It's the two dudes with the attitudes, let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is, man, they came to handle biz. Two dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you wanna hear it all, yeah, you in the right place. Going through the highs and lows at a pretty calm pace. This is where they talk to all elite, Dynamite and Rampage. All the other news on your timelines or your page. Shooting star press like it's mad side down. MWO, and yeah, they here to hold it down. Had to kick a rhyme just to tell you about the show. From the TikToks or the shorts, they will bring the smoke. And yeah, it's the dudes like it's Sean and it's Diesel. Live on the Twitch, YouTube for the reviews. Show them all the love on the platform you using. 5-star rating now, there is no excuses. Welcome back or welcome for the first show. Two dudes with the attitudes, time to work, bro.
Time to work, bro.
That's right.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Dudes with Attitudes. I am the dude of Wrestle Talk, and this is AEW edition, where we talk all things AEW. And with me, as always, is a man with a new name. He has many names, and now he has a new one. He is my right-hand dude. Right-hand dude. Left-hand dude, Mr. Shooting Star Press.
I'm the left-handed, right-hand man. I'm the right-hand dude.
The sad part is I went the wrong way, and it was the right way, so that didn't even make sense anyway, because I'm like looking, and you can't tell that I'm looking the opposite way of this.
I am on the left-hand side of the screen, but I'm the right-hand dude, and I am left-handed. So yeah, none of this makes sense, but we're the two dudes with attitudes, and we're back to talk all things all elite.
Yes, we are. You're my right hand. You're my go-to. It's one of my favorite Drake songs ever. Told you everything about you. That's a bold move. Look it up if you don't know it. But yeah, it's called Right Hand. It's called Right Hand. Anyway, by the way, tomorrow, let's talk about it. Two dudes, wolf back. What you want to talk about? Is that how he says it? What do you want to talk about? He says it every week. Well, I still don't have it right. Yeah, it's such a stupid catchphrase. But WrestleMania tickets are supposed to come out tomorrow, right? I thought it was the 18th, but you're saying tomorrow, right?
I think it is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I think because I've seen a bunch of like WrestleMania 40 commercials. I saw them a lot on NXT this week.
Yeah,
saying that I thought they were saying tickets on sale on Friday.
Because the 18th is next Friday, so I wonder.
Maybe it is next Friday. But
I don't know. While we're talking right now and introducing and starting out, this is an AEW edition. There it is.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about? Let's see here. Tickets on sale. Let's see here. It's not available Friday, August 18th.
Okay, so it's next week.
7 a.m. my time, 10 a.m. your time. So either way, I was going to say, I think the two dudes are doing a part 2 and we're going again, right? We're going to go to Philly?
Yes.
I'm going to buy tickets. We're going to do it. We're going to go to SmackDown, Raw, both nights. We're going to do them all this time. NXT, we're going to do all 5. Let's go.
And our challenge.
The other shows won't go on until later on. We're going to do WrestleManias and then we'll buy all the rest later. But yeah, what were you saying?
And our challenge to the Young Bucks of 2-on-2 basketball
still holds up.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be bigger by then. We'll be way bigger by then. Yeah. And we'll actually stream from there this time.
And it'll be
nervous at WrestleMania. I was going through things. We were struggling. Next year we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it big.
We're gonna do it big. And we'll beat them in Philly. We would have beaten them in LA, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They sent them back to LA. So we'll beat the Young Bucks.
I've actually never been to Philadelphia. I've never been really much outside of California other than the times I've gone to WrestleMania, which is Toronto, Texas. So I would be super excited to go to Philly. I don't know if you've been. I don't know how close it is to North Carolina. I don't know if you can spit from there, but I am all for it. I would love to go watch a, Philadelphia game. Just kidding. I don't know. The Flyers, the Phillies, the Sixers. Nah, never mind. I'm out. But anyway, I would like to no props to people at Philly. All right, let's get this party started. You ready? Ready? I'm just babbering on. It's late. All right, we're gonna start with AEW. We're gonna start with a Rampage, and I don't have a big thing to talk about. I just wanted to talk about a weird thing that happened that even you thought you might have even missed. It was a weird segment. AEW Rampage has done a lot of backstage promos now. That's kind of like their thing, right? Right now that they have a match, but then they do a lot of backstage stuff just to kind of keep the storylines going, which I've liked. I've liked Rampage. I haven't hated it. And there was one with the champ, Chris Statlander, and she was backstage doing a promo, and she had the beautiful Renee Young on her shoulders while she was doing squats. So Statlander had Renee on her shoulders, and she was doing squats, and she was like grunting and out of breath while Renee had the microphone on her mouth and was like uncomfortable, and they cut a promo. So basically she was like, I'm gonna beat Mercedes Martinez, this and that. I'm this person and I could beat her and yada yada yada. And it was just, I just want to bring it up that like this is what I've always said about AEW, right? Because AEW doesn't have writers, correct? So they don't have people that write for them. All the wrestlers get to come up with whatever they want to do, their statements, their promos. And sometimes you just got to step in, right? It's okay to be different. You can have some things that might not work, or maybe you think like, that probably wouldn't work, but it'll probably be a hit in the future. I don't know who the hell was like, yo, bro, I think it'll be hilarious if you get Renee Young and like get her and do squats while doing your interview and she holds the mic. It's going to be classic. It's going to look good. It's going to put you over. Chris Statlander's already been kind of like meh since she's like beaten Jade Cargill, who wasn't meh. And now she's doing this. I know you said you thought you might have missed it, but what do you think? I gave you enough picture for it. Are you more people doing squats with the announcers on? Like, would you like to see Brian Saxton on, Batista shoulders while he's doing a promo? I mean, what say you?
Yeah, I don't see how this does anybody any favors. I mean, they're both attractive, so I'll probably go check it out. But for that reason alone. But at the end of the day, though, I do like. What does this do for Chris Statlander? I mean, does this make AEW does some weird stuff like this all the time, and I think they think it may seem like a good idea on paper, but then the execution is always the critical thing for them. And this just, Renee Paquette is not a wrestler. She's not she's not an active in-ring performer. I'd be more impressed if she was lifting like Aubrey Edwards, or if she was lifting.
Max Caster,
Willow Nightingale, somebody else, Thunder Rosa, just showing her feats of strength. But Renee Paquette, I mean, I don't know. It's some weird stuff, and I just that's really, in the words of Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that.
By the way, you just well done. By the way, Thunder Rosa. Everyone who entered that door has appeared on
never
Collision.
came out.
She's still in that room?
Yeah, she's still in that.
I forgot until right now when you said that. What the heck happened to Thunder Rosa? I mean, I know Miro's only had he hasn't been on Collision since like week 2, but at least he appeared. Weird. Yeah. I don't know. You just brought her up. I completely forgot about that. All right.
Yeah, I know she's on Busted Open. I know that. So maybe that's where they're filming it, was from that area. That's where she does her podcast from. That room for Collision. But I want to talk about the parking lot fight from Rampage. And I got to be honest, man. Like, I don't like matches like these, and I'm just not. I was not a fan of this. This just felt forced. This felt like, we have to throw something against the wall and see what sticks. It just felt random. I know that the BCC is moving on from the Elite, but it just feels like, they went from, a really good story between the Elite and the BCC, and some really good matches, some of the most violent matches we've seen, some of those violent segments, screwdrivers in the eyes and blood and guts matches and blood everywhere, and to like a 3-week build of a parking lot fight with Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Chuck Taylor. And this match itself just did not do anything for me. It was chaos. It was hard to watch. All these matches where they're not inside of a ring are really hard to watch, because the camera's going all over the place. Sometimes I feel like they miss things. They're panning from one person to the other. So you're trying to get into it. You're trying to pay attention to what's going on so you don't miss anything. And then they pan the camera to somewhere else, and you're trying to pay attention to that. Just when you're getting into it, they go to something else. But the outcome of the match, I wasn't surprised that the Blackpool Combat Club got the win. Wheeler Yuta showed up and got involved. Orange Cassidy came out, and but even then, the best friends just they were outmatched, they were outgunned, they were outmanned, and the BCC ended up winning. I did kind of like the ending with Trent Beretta's head going through the windshield. It's typical BCC violence, so I did like that. But the match itself was just a big miss for me.
Yeah, I'm over it. And I've been over it. And they're bringing in forks. I was with my 9-year-old son when we were watching this. I was watching Rampage, and this match came on, and he was like, "What is this? I don't want to watch it." And he turned around. He was like, "They're stabbing each other with forks." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, this." And he watches WWE mostly, so I rarely ever watch AEW in front of him for that reason. And I decided to put on Rampage, and this was going on. It's just he's right. My 9-year-old son is right. This isn't wrestling. This isn't what he watches. And even in the Attitude Era, I feel like these matches happen when they needed to happen. This is every week. Is this a Tony Khan thing? Is this John Moxley and them just because they go in the back and get off on this bleeding thing that they want to bleed every single week? I don't know what's happening, but I get the BCC shirts and everything's covered in blood and yada yada yada, and we do this in blood. But let's move on. That group is way too talented to have to resort to cutting themselves open every day. And I'm past it. I'm done with it. I thought it was a train wreck. I hated every moment. I hated that Orange Cassidy got involved in it. I hated just all of it. I mean, BCC won, sure, but it's so stupid. It happens so much now that I don't even care. What am I getting at? I'm not getting good matches. I'm not getting good moves. I'm not getting story. I'm getting people hurting each other with things. That does literally nothing for. I'm not a caveman. I can think.
No.
I want to watch something that's going to entertain me, not just dumb me down. And as you said, like Forrest Gump said, that's all I got to say about that. So let's.
I need to get that as a soundbite.
You got to. All right, it's Collision time, baby. Somebody might be going to Collision.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to Saturday's Collision. It's in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we're going to have a main event of CMFTR and CM against House of Black for the Trios Championship, which, we'll talk about that. But
was it Forrest Gump from North Carolina?
No, he was from Greenbow,
Alabama.
Greenbow, Alabama.
That's right. I don't know why I thought North Carolina. It's Alabama. Yeah.
North Carolina is where you raise up and take your shirt off and swing it in the air like a helicopter.
That's
the
right.
The P.D. Pablo song.
Yeah, P.D. That's right. All right, we're on Collision.
All right. Anyway, back to it.
Collision.
FTR's from North Carolina. Edge lives in North Carolina now. Beth Phoenix lives here. So
okay, all right.
At the Hardys from here.
Yeah.
But anyway, there are, 4 of those people are in AEW.
Yeah.
But
Collision, you ready? Me first. You go. You go first.
Yeah, I'll talk first.
Jump it in.
I want to talk about the main event of Collision. We finally, 3 weeks of build between Punk and CM Punk, the star of Collision, the Collision guy that he says he is, and Ricky Starks. And this one was for the AEW Real World Championship, as they claim.
It was in quotes on the screen, by the way. Real do they understand what quotes mean?
And his championship has a big X on it, and he marked out the E in the elite. So, hintity hint there about what's, how he feels about stuff going on with the Young Bucks and everybody. But the special guest referee was Ricky Steamboat. As of last Saturday, it was Ricky Steamboat as the guest ref. But then it switched quickly on Collision the week, during the episode. He was like the special outside enforcer. So, they changed that on a whim. I don't know why they did that, because they had a ref in the ring. You asked me. I was like, hey, I thought you said Ricky Steamboat was the ref. I was like, he was. And then I went back and watched it again. I was like, wait a minute. They moved him to the outside enforcer. I was like, when did they do that? But yeah, I mean, the Ricky Starks match, Ricky Starks brings it every week. I love Ricky Starks. I think he's fantastic. This was, this match was what it was. It was a good way to end the show, I think. But CM Punk wins the match, wins the AEW Real World Champion. He is now the Real World Champion of All Elite Wrestling. You'll find it on AEW.com listed as the champ. No, actually, no, you won't, because he's not the champion. But the company doesn't even recognize it. But he wins the match, and then after the match, Ricky Starks attacks Ricky Steamboat, and this was the start of a Ricky Starks heel turn, and I'm all for it. I mean, he's been kind of teasing it with his cheating over the last couple of weeks, but this really solidified it that he is officially a heel now, and it also I'm happy for it because it proves my theory correct that I said a few weeks ago about the MJF effect. If you feud with MJF, you will be a heel in 1 to 3 months, and here we are with Ricky Starks. His one of MJF's first title defenses was against Ricky Starks, and here we are now. He is a full-on heel. Add that to the list of Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Darby or Jungle Boy, Jack Perry. He's now a heel. So now add Ricky Starks to that list, and I think he's going to flourish as a heel. He was better as a heel the first time around when he was in Team Taz, and I think he's going to do better this time as a heel. So yeah, I mean the Punk match, I'm still not feeling him as the real world champion, especially because MJF's not even acknowledging it. So I think that's hurting Punk's case. But yeah, I like the match. I like the turn from Ricky Starks, and I'm curious to see where that goes.
Well, the good news is at least MJF wasn't on Collision. So before he was like really only on Collision, and then you have the fake. I mean, if you're gonna really like do the brand split, which it seems like they're trying to do, then do the damn brand split. AEW. So it was nice to see them do that. You're right. You can acknowledge him not being the real champion without having to start a feud with him too. So they could easily have MJF stay alive.
I just don't like them calling it the real world champion. Just call it don't call it the Collision champion though. Like I never was a fan of Raw women's champion and SmackDown women's champion. Just call it the AEW World Heavyweight Championship like WWE does, and then have the AEW World Champion.
The Universal. AEW Universal Champion.
Something,
The AEW International Universal North
Galaxy Champion. Yeah.
Hardcore. But yeah, I actually enjoyed this match. I thought it was their best match. I didn't hate it. You had hit me up saying you thought Dynamite or Collision was junk. I actually thought this match was okay. I thought it closed out nice. I liked seeing Ricky Starks go full heel and beat the bananas out of Ricky Dragon Steamboat with the belt and just kind of walk off. He wasn't like a chicken shit heel either. He like did it and then was like, "What you gonna do about it, bruh?" And just like walked off, no care in the world. He needs to be that heel because he has that, even with his like thing that he does or whatever it is, like that's all heelish. He does heelish type, things. So I dig it. I think it's hard to turn heel when you're up against CM Punk right now because I think CM Punk is hated. He gets booed every week. I don't think fans have invested in him yet, especially AEW fans. But we'll see where it goes. But I am digging it. I don't mind the win for CM Punk. We all thought he was going to win. I thought it was a good loss for Ricky Starks. My fear is like it is with everything because where's like Wardlow? But is Ricky Starks? What do we do with this? Okay, he got the rub. He got a good rub. It felt good. It's like that first rub you ever get. Now you're kind of on cloud 9. Let's see where you go. Are we going to keep pushing you, or are we just going to now have you disappear? So I think it's a long run that I'm kind of interested in. So
it's always the concern with AEW is where do they go next? You establish somebody, and then they'll keep them off TV for 6 weeks, and then you kind of lose interest in them. So hopefully they don't do that with Ricky Starks, and they keep his momentum going and have something good for him for All In and All Out because he's earned it.
I agree. All right. What I didn't like, or what I was confused with on Collision is what the heck happened to the Outcast? We, for weeks on this show, I almost bought a shirt. I'm glad I didn't. We have been talking about the Outcast forever. They were blowing up. We were talking about how they were probably the number 2 faction in all of AEW, if not close to being number 1. Toni Storm was champ. Saraya was doing her thing. Ruby Soho was killing it. They looked good. They were looking sexier and meaner and stronger. They're all wearing green. It was like out of this world. And then all of a sudden, Ruby Soho don't win the Owen Hart thing. Toni Storm drops the belt to Sheeta for no reason. And now they're not even on TV together for the first time ever. Toni Storm cut a promo in a robe with her boobs hanging out and curlers in her hair like she just got out of the backstage trailer shower area of, I don't know why. It wasn't like she was at her house. I have no idea what she looked like that. But anyway, about how, and then she was kind of doing like the I'm losing my mind, like I'm going insane Becky Lynch thing that they did. So I was like very confused by the segment, but what the heck happened to the Outcast, man? Like, do they not like each other anymore? Did one of them leave the group? Because didn't they talk about Soraya too on one of the shows? I don't know. They just like
stop showing
help
up.
me out here, shooting star. What? You're my right hand dude. What happened here? Where are they at? Like, are they done? She was wearing no green. Like, what is going on right now? Are we just? I mean, they do that all the time, though, right? Like, the best friends are not a group anymore, and then like 3 months
And
later, all of a sudden they're like back again, and the Dark Order's another one. They're always like gone, and then a team again. So is that what we're doing here, or are they over?
Yeah, I guess they're over, and we'll talk a little bit about this when we get to Dynamite. But they must be over. I don't know, and that's the thing, man. AEW just drops people without any sort of explanation.
Wardlow. Yeah.
This was one of the most red hot factions that they had. This was one of the best groups that they had. They had that killer moment with Britt Baker where they beat her down with the kendo stick, and Adam Cole just had to watch. And it was fantastic stuff. And now they're not even on TV, and there's no send off for them. There's no breakup. There's no explanation. And AEW does this a lot. They do things without explanation quite a bit.
Yes, they do.
It's baffling and it's confusing, and I'm not a huge fan of it.
No, agreed. All right, what's your last thing on Collision?
Okay. So we talked a little bit about CM Punk and Ricky Starks in the main event, and they've had 3 solid weeks of building CM Punk and Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Ricky Starks got 2 big wins by cheating, and then the third match, the rubber match, Punk wins the Real World Championship. And then, Ricky Starks attacks Ricky Steamboat, and CM Punk goes after Ricky Starks with the chair to close out the show and checks on Ricky Steamboat in the ring. So, but earlier in the night, we got a promo from one Samoa Joe challenging CM Punk to a match at All In. The story is not Punk versus Joe. The story is Punk versus Starks. We need if you're not going to give us Punk versus the Elite or Punk versus Omega, which they're not doing. Hate to break it to everybody, but they're not doing that. Give us Punk versus Ricky Starks. That's what you've been building. That's the story you've been telling. But instead, they're going to give us Punk versus Samoa Joe, part 37, a match that was relevant in 2006, 2007. And I know that Samoa Joe's bitter because he lost the semifinals of the Owen Hart Invitational on a roll-up from CM Punk, and he's mad about it. But what? It's CM Punk versus Samoa Joe at All In, and we don't know if Punk's going to accept the challenge. He may not. But you end Collision with Punk going after Ricky Starks, clearly setting up something for Punk and Ricky Starks. But you're having the match at your biggest show possibly be Punk versus Samoa Joe. I don't know. The build's been Punk Starks, but you're telling us that Punk and Joe is the match. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Me neither. And we've seen it before. And I'm not trying to take away from them. Once again, AEW always wants to go back to the let's just have a good match. They don't care about story. They don't care about anything like that. They just want to have a good match, right? So we put these two together. They're going to have a great match. Yay, 5-star Dave Meltzer. Maybe Dave Meltzer's in on AEW. I mean, he promotes them a lot. Maybe he has, stock. I don't know. So he wants to have all those 5-star
There were rumors that he was on the payroll.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. So, but I don't know why they're going with this. I thought it was stupid. And also, is Samoa Joe in ROH? And don't get me wrong. Dom's going NXT, he's going Raw, he's going SmackDown, but at least he talks about it. You know what I mean? They're not even bringing it up. And I want to say something too about AEW, on this segment, because I was going to bring this up as my point, but maybe I will. Actually, I'm going to bring it up as my point. I'm going to skip the one I said I was going to do, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. CM Punk versus Samoa Joe ain't doing it for me, especially unless they're going to have Ricky Starks interfere and cost Punk the belt. No, see, that doesn't even work. I have no idea what they're doing with it. I agree with you. I don't know why. Yeah. And that's what AEW does too, and that's where they get stuck in things. That's what they did with the TNT title forever, where they had Hobbs or this guy or Wardlow, and there's just too many cooks in the kitchen trying to win matches, and so they don't know what to do, so they keep just passing it around, or people get forgotten, and that's the thing. Why already go? You don't see that right now. Finn Balor still was going against Seth Rollins. They didn't just skip, and then Shinsuke kicked him, and now we're going to move on. Right now, that's the start of it. We're not having two things going. Shinsuke didn't kick him last week. You know what I mean? Right before SummerSlam. He's kicking him after. So that's what I mean. Like, don't build something up when you're already building something as of now, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was not a fan of that. And again, do I hate Samoa Joe? No. Do I want to see him wrestle CM Punk? No. But, but the build that the story you've been telling is Punk starts.
Mm-hmm.
And, the matches have ended questionably. The cheating from Ricky Starks, and then the Ricky Steamboat stuff with Steamboat got taken out. So then they had a new ref, and a ref came in, and Punk got the win that way. So let's have a clean match at a pay-per-view. But for some reason, you're adding Samoa Joe to it, and then is the belt going to be on the line? Like, what's the deal there? And I don't like this at all. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I agree. Here's something I don't like, and this is why I'm switching. I'm going to talk about this. So we had Miss Do Squats herself, Chris Statlander, wrestle Mercedes Martinez in a match for the TNT title on Collision, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was on Collision, right? So they had a match. And in the middle of the match, Chris Statlander wins, and somebody comes out, Diamante or something, and she runs out, and she interferes, or she helps out and beats down Chris Statlander with Mercedes Martinez. And we're supposed to understand this and what's going on. And then Willow Nightingale comes out and does a save. And the announcers are talking about like, oh my gosh, this and that. And this girl did this and this and this. So I was confused because I watch AEW every week. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I don't even know who this, I've literally never seen this girl before. So I looked it up, right? I've got to learn. This is our job, right? So I look it up. I guess this Diamante girl hasn't wrestled in AEW since 2020. So no wonder I haven't remembered her. But she's been wrestling in ROH. And I guess she has a feud with Mercedes Martinez where she turned on her on an ROH episode or something like that. So I have said this to you 1,000 times. There is something that just TK doesn't get. He needs to watch WWE. The WWE assumes at all times that not only do you not know what happened in the backstory build up to SummerSlam, you know what I mean? Because before every single SummerSlam match, they give you the entire damn. So in case you've missed it, because you could be a casual fan who's tuning in for the first time, or coming back and returning, and now you're getting that build, so you're invested in the match. They also give it to you, assuming you didn't watch the first hour of Raw. They give you reviews of what happened on Raw. SmackDown gives you reviews of Raw. Raw gives you reviews of SmackDown. NXT will throw. They are always filling you in, and they do that so better than no one else. They do it better than UFC. WWE does it. AEW literally needs to start being treated like that. They need to start doing. And we don't need just a promo match, right? They don't build any story. They don't talk about anything. Tony Khan assumes that us AEW wrestling fans literally watch every single show they have: New Japan, ROH, AEW, Dark. You know, he just assumes we watch it, and it bothers the crap out of me. And you bringing up that with, there's just it drives me nuts. It drives me wild at the fact that I'm watching this TNT Championship match and I have no idea who these people are, but you're having her interfere. It was like when that guy ripped his mask off, and I don't even think he ever showed up. Remember that one time when the guy like ripped his mask off in the middle of the ring because he like interfered, and the crowd was dead ass silent. And the announcer was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so and so," and we were like, "Who the hell is that? Did he even ever wrestle again?" Like, it's like the same thing. It like drives me nuts. TK, I know you listen to our podcast. Do better. Get a production team. You are a billionaire. Get a team who's going to build stories. It doesn't take long. Cut your stupid matches 5 minutes short, 2 of them, to cut 10 minutes worth of promo build before each match, so at least we know what is going on instead of just assuming so. Sorry about my rant.
No, it's well said. And I thought the same thing. I feel like Chris Statlander, if we were doing highs and lows right now, I would be really low on Chris Statlander as TBS champion. This is the girl that you had dethrone Jade Cargill, the undefeated Jade Cargill. And she's doing nothing with that title. She's done nothing with it. And I'm not feeling it. And then I don't know who Diamante is because, we don't pay attention to ROH. And, I'm glad to see Willow Nightingale finally getting some some shine and some love on the show. I'm happy for her, but I just this team that they have and these ROH people that are showing up every week on Dynamite and Collision and Rampage. It's just, tell us who they are. Give us a rundown. Give us a lay of the land. Tell us what happened on Ring of Honor. Give us a quick 2-minute, 3-minute, Cliff Notes version of what happened on Dynamite. Or what happened earlier on Dynamite. What happened on Ring of Honor. What happened on Collision earlier tonight. Just so if people are tuning in for the first time, you kind of have an idea. And, it's one thing if commentary tells us that, and AEW's commentary usually does tell you where these people are from. But if you're not paying attention to what the commentary team is saying, or if you're
watching
what I mean. Or if you're, you're doing something else while the match is going on, you're not going to know. And then you have no reason to tune in because you don't know who these people are. So
I agree.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that.
Thank you. And they bring it up, though, and they bring it up very shallowly. Like it's easier to bring it up when you have the promo because then you can feed off of it. But yeah. All right. Since you started it, we're done. Let's go to Dynamite. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Now, Dynamite was confusing to me. I'm going to start this time again because I want to start off with the opening. And you briefly give me a hint that I think we're in opposite sides on this. So the opening is everybody in the JAS is in the ring. They're all there. They're all hanging out. Except for Chris Jericho. Then someone gets on the mic, I think Chris Jericho just comes out, right? His music hits, Judas on My Mind, and so Jericho comes out, and this is the mandatory meeting to discuss the, JAS, what they're going to do. And Jericho starts to talk, and then somebody, who was the first one? It was Daniel Garcia. And he basically is like, shut up, I'm sick of you talking. We're going to talk right now. And basically, that was the end of Jericho saying anything. So they have this thing to where they want to bring him in to talk about things, but they don't let him talk. And long story short, they all just flip and quit. It's not even like, let me hear it, or Chris Jericho's like, no, random girl who's married to Sammy Guevara who cuts the worst promos in the history of the world. Why don't you stick around in this group so I can lead you to nowhere, Bill? It's just them just walking. I quit. You're stupid. I quit. And then he's standing there by himself. End segment, cut to the backstage where Don Callis is like, yo, they all left you. So we good now? And Jericho's like, we'll talk about it next week. Why?
Yeah.
You don't have the decision yet? Or do you want ratings for next week? Because now I'm so intrigued to find out that you're joining Don Callis. I don't know. I just thought AEW usually opens up with some hot openings. Maybe this is why they don't open up like WWE with promos. Because to me, this was hot garbage. It was a miss. At least build me at least have them kind of fight for it, or Jericho being like Jack Hager. No, bro, we've known each other for 20 years. You were in the inner circle. You were in the JAS. You can't be leaving me. No chance you're leaving me. I have to leave you. I have to leave you.
And I like that hat. Yeah.
And I like that hat. So why didn't no kind of anything? It was just I just thought it was why didn't you just quit last week then? Why did you have to bring him out to just say you're going to quit if there was going to be no talking about? I don't know. I just thought it was a miss to me, especially with all the talent you had in there and story that you could have had. I think you could have at least dragged it a little bit. But you're saying you liked it, so let's go with that. What did you dig?
Yeah, the execution not so much. I do wish that Jericho would have gotten to speak a little bit, and I wish that he would have talked a little bit more and been a little bit more distraught when everybody was quitting. But what I like about it is AEW is actually telling us a story, and we do dog on them. We do dog on them week in and week out about just lack of stories. And we just talked about Rampage and the best friends against the BCC, how that match really had no story whatsoever because it's only had 2 weeks to build up to it. But they've been building this for a while. They've been teasing this, and it makes me feel like Don Callis is up to something, and I don't. It makes me almost wonder if Chris Jericho is joining the Don Callis family, or if there's going to be a swerve, and maybe Don Callis secretly is recruiting all of the JAS guys, and Jericho's going to be on his own, or somebody else is going to join instead of Chris Jericho, and that's going to be the match at All In is Chris Jericho versus that person that is joining the new Don Callis family. I don't know. So I'm starting to makes me wonder because the last thing we saw was Don Callis saying, oh yeah, I'll get everything set up and we'll be ready next week. It makes me wonder if Don Callis is up to something, that he doesn't really want Jericho. He really wants Daniel Garcia.
Wow.
He wants Jake Hager. He wants the whole group.
Nobody wants Jake Hager, but
yeah. But so it makes me. But so I'm giving them credit for telling a story. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit for where the story can go. But the execution of the segment itself was not a fan of. I didn't like how they had the meet. They wanted to have a meeting with Jericho. They didn't let Jericho talk, and everybody quit. But then they're still going to be there next week to hear his announcement. And what if he doesn't join the Don Callis family and he decides to stay with the JAS? Are they going to be happy to see him? I don't know. But I like the fact that AEW is telling a story, and I'm curious to see where this story goes. I'm intrigued. And yeah, it makes me wonder if Don Callis is up to something, because I have this feeling we've never really seen Jericho in AEW on his own. He's always been in a faction. He was in the Inner Circle, then he was in the JAS, and now this could be his first chance to do something on his own. And I have a feeling that where he's not going to join he's going to come out next week and say that he's going to join the Don Callis family, and they're going to be like, oh no, you're not, and somebody else is going to join instead, and that's going to lead to a fight with Jericho and something like that. So I'm curious, and that could be where it goes, or I could be way off on that, but I'm intrigued with this.
I actually did not think of that at all, so I'm kind of digging it. That you caught me there, and I think that's interesting. That's even if it's not somebody from the JAS, although it might be. Maybe it'll be Daniel Garcia because he was, or maybe it'll be Sammy because Sammy was the one who was like, "I'll be here waiting." So
if you decide to make your mind up,
yeah. So 100%. I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah, man. And Jericho being solo, maybe taking a break and coming back. I don't know. That's pretty good, man. I like it. All right.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
I'm
getting, you have sold me on it. You have sold me on it.
And like I said, AEW, maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but they're telling a story, and it's intriguing me.
I get it. Yeah, I dig it. That's Now I'm intrigued to see if that's what's going to happen next week. That's why they made us wait. I don't know. Okay. All right.
Yeah. But for me, I want to talk about the return of Rob Van Dam. RVD came back, and he came back last week. He made his return and challenged Jack Perry, and he looked rough last week. He looked like hurt. He hobbled to the ring. He could barely move. And this week for the actual match, I actually am happy that he moved a lot better than he did last week. I was just like, oh my gosh, and he did frog splashes. He hit the Van Terminator. He was doing all of his moves, and he did the RVD thing. So I actually liked this match with Jungle Boy Jack Perry and RVD. But the thing I liked the most about it was not so much the match itself. The match was what it was. RVD, he can still move, but he can't move like he used to. You can tell he's in his 50s. You can tell his body's starting to break down a little bit. He can't do the stuff that he used to do. And so I think the match was fine for what it was. They hit some of the stuff that, I think Jungle Boy took care of him in the ring and made sure he was safe.
Oh, for sure.
So I got to give him credit for that. The thing that I really liked about it, though, was this was, to me, the most comfortable Jack Perry has looked as a heel since turning heel. He ditched the brown jacket. I liked everything about his presentation this week. He came out with Jerry Lynn's ring gear to taunt Jerry Lynn for all the stuff that they've been doing over the last couple of weeks. And he hit RVD with a low blow at the end of the match when Aubrey Edwards was running out after the ref bump, and just all the little things. He actually got heat from the crowd for doing that. And every time RVD got offense in, Jack Perry got booed for getting offense in. So this looked like the first time since he's turned heel that Jack Perry fully embraced the heel character, and he looked comfortable in the ring. He's been looking like he's been kind of forcing it to be a heel. Like you can tell he wants to stay a babyface, and it's kind of forcing it. But this time I really felt that he was embracing it and enjoying it. And hopefully this is the start of what should be a good heel run for Jack Perry. And I feel like I've been saying that now for the last 3 weeks. But I dug this match, but I really dug it for Jack Perry and his presentation and the way that he looked, his body language, his the off-camera motions and the nonverbal communication, all of that stuff. I mean, that stuff sells more than some physical contact. And I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I've said this once, I'll say it twice, I'll say it a quadrillion times. It's so much easier to be a heel in this business than it is to be a babyface. And I know that's coming from a non-professional, but just the history of seeing wrestlers go from one to the other. And sometimes it takes a minute, right? It's taken Dirty Dom a minute. Now he's found in that niche, and now he's probably the best heel in the world today. Jungle Boy hasn't been doing it that long, and he got transitioned very quickly out of nowhere, probably. So I think he is getting better, and hopefully he will. You can't force it. You can't try too hard. You can't have a toothpick in your mouth. You need to like embrace it in the fact that you just really need to be a douche. You got to just invest into your inner douche. And if you're not that kind of guy, if you're not really a prick in real life, then be one. This is your time to be one. It's fun, right? Who doesn't want to be mean? I go to this restaurant whenever I go to Vegas. It's called Dick's. And have you guys have those?
We have them out here.
Oh,
they're really popular in like beach towns.
Yes, because there's in San Diego too. There's Dick's, and you go there, and basically all the servers are like super rude to you. That's the point. They put a weird like KKK type hat on your head. It's like a white big old like hat, but it'll say like something rude on it. So you know what I mean? Like you go down more than an elevator. They'll like be pointing to you or something rude. And I just love the place because who would want to work there? You get to just be mean all the time on purpose, and I love it. I was there once in Vegas, and somebody was coming up to get their order and like, hi, we have a table for 4. And the guy was like, yeah, I don't think so. And just turned around and walked away. And the person was like so appalled, asked for the manager, but the guy came back and the guy had to like tap on a sign. Like he was like, ugh, tap, tap, tap. And the guy's like, everybody here is mean and rude on purpose. That's the point of the theme. And he was like, oh gosh, oh my bad. It's like, yeah, dude, read something before you go. But anyway, but that's like Jungle Boy. It's like he's finally embracing it. I think that's what it was. Like he walked out and kind of showed the belt to Taz and was like, and just like kind of walked in, and he was
dragging it on the ground.
Heck yeah, it's just easy stuff, man. He'll get there. He will get there. But yes, in time, and he's gotten better. RVD, same thing as you. He looked slimmer. He looked more agile. We made fun of him because we're like, this dude's wrestling right now. Okay, it looked like he just came out of a coma. Dude like showed up the next week like refreshed. Maybe he was high last week.
He was hanging out with James Harden, because remember James Harden when he was with Houston was like, he was like overweight and out of shape, and then like he got traded to Brooklyn, and next thing he's like, very next week he's like skinny again and back in game shape, and like what the heck?
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but he came the next week and he did bring it. His frog splash looked good. Everything about him looked good. I mean, it wasn't like John Cena RVD or ECW RVD, but still he brought it. It was good to see him. I enjoyed it. All right. I got to talk about the best thing going on in AEW right now. You ready?
Yes, sir.
As we're better than you, baby.
That's right.
MJF and Adam Cole.
They had a cool shirt this week, too.
Yes, they did a double clothesline.
Yeah, that was
they got so much dope merch. And they decided to hang out. Adam Cole invited MJF to go hang out with him. He brought shorts. So MJF obviously straight went to strip club or nude beach party or whatever. I don't know what he was. And Adam Cole's like, no, dude, like I'm married. We're going to trampoline land. And they went to trampoline land, and Adam Cole's like belting like a kid because he's a nerd in real life like me. He has like probably Funko Pop and plays video games like I do all night. He's like a nerd. And he's like bouncing on like the trampoline, and MJF's like, and then he's like, dude, there's dodgeball. And so MJF's all about it, and he wails on all these kids. Adam Cole tells him to stop, and the kid like makes fun of them for being at the trampoline place because they're too old. So Adam Cole allows MJF to drill her. It was hilarious, classic stuff, which led into their promo, which I really liked. Adam Cole was like, dude, we're wrestling in a few weeks or a couple weeks. And MJF's like, cool, we're going to have a promo battle. And literally the first promo he cut on him was that he is so pale and thin that if he was in the 80s, Hulk Hogan would have snorted him. It was a phenomenal line. And then he cut a couple more, and Adam Cole was like, stop! And it was just good stuff. He's like, no, I just want to say that I want us to go for the ROH tag team titles a couple nights before All In, and I was all for it. Sign me up. I dig it. Then Roderick Strong came out and pouted. MJF made fun of him. Adam Cole then pushed him. And MJF seemed to legitimately be like, you know what? I deserve it. I made fun of your friend. That's your dude. I shouldn't have said it. And they went on their own ways, and nothing happened. And I'm kind of digging it, but here's my thing, right? You called the Adam Cole swerve a while ago, but they can't lose for the ROH titles, right? That would make they can't lose the Aussie Open, right? That makes zero sense. Who's going to take the pin against Aussie Open? So they're going to win the ROH tag team titles, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure because you can't turn on each other before the main event, like 2 days before, can you? That isn't enough. You can't have Adam Cole like cost MJF the tag and be like, I'm not your friend. I'm going to beat you in 2 days. So that's not going to sell seats. Is that what you think is going to happen? Because I'm like, what's happening? So they're going to win the tag team titles, and then is Adam Cole going to beat MJF, and then that's going to start their feud because he's like, oh, you beat me, and now where are we going with this?
I'm under the impression that they're wrestling twice on the same night. That Adam Cole and MJF are wrestling Aussie Open on like the 0 hour pre-show.
Oh, is that the same night?
Yeah, the same night of All In.
Is a pre-show.
Yeah, it's the pre-show, and they're going to challenge.
I thought it was a whole different. I thought it was like an ROH card or something.
No, they have. That's what ROH calls their pre-shows when they do like Death Before Dishonor, 0 hour.
Got it.
But they're doing that for All In too because I guess ROH is going to be there.
Got it.
But yeah, they're doing 0 hour, and it's the same night. So they're going to be on the pre-show, and then they're going to wrestle Aussie Open, and then later on that night, Adam Cole and MJF will be wrestling against each other. So,
but that's what I mean. They have to win, right? You can't have a swerve the same night. Like who's gonna like?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I mean they have to win. They have to win at 0 hour and win the tag team titles, and then have a great match, and then maybe after the match, that's when somebody turns. The turn has to happen. If it's going to happen, I think it has to happen in the world title match, not in that tag team title match.
Yeah.
It could be like when Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins won the tag team titles the night Roman announced he had leukemia, and then John, I keep calling him John Moxley, but Dean Ambrose turned heel and turned on Seth Rollins, but they still had the tag team titles.
Yeah,
something like that where whoever turns is going to turn, but they still hold the tag team gold.
Yeah,
and they have to work together, and they have to figure it out. So
I'm all about that too. That's what I mean. Yeah, but I'm all for them winning the ROH tag team titles. I think that's cool. I think that'll bring prestige to the ROH and kind of do what Dom's doing for NXT right now. So
yeah. I'm only I don't know how I feel about the world champion being on a pre-show.
Okay.
That's my only concern, but I'm excited for it. I think you get 2 matches of Adam Cole and MJF working together to open the show and close the show. I think you can't go wrong there.
I agree.
But I thought the segment was cool. I love the MJF, wanting to pelt kids, and the reason that he even wanted to go to the dodgeball or the trampoline park in the first place was to play dodgeball and to beat up children. So I thought that was all funny stuff, and these guys are comedy gold, and I love it. I love it. It's the best thing AEW's doing.
I agree.
All right, and then my other thing that I want to talk about is not so much a match, not so much a main event, but I guess kind of sort of a match, but this all-in fatal 4-way for the women's championship. Can somebody explain it to me? They're doing a tournament, another tournament, Tony Khan and his tournaments, to get to where the winners automatically qualify for the fatal 4-way at All In. Fine. Okay. Toni Storm gets to invoke her rematch clause and is automatically in the match at All In. Okay, fine. Fair enough. But just last week on Collision, Toni Storm was confused about her direction, didn't know where she was going, was showing up in a robe and curlers, and was like, but then there's no story, there's no announcement, there's no nothing. It's just, oh, by the way, she's in the match at All In. She's invoked her rematch clause. Okay, fine. But that's fine. That makes sense. I get that. So the other match that you have later on Dynamite in the main event is Hikaru Shida, your women's champion, versus Anna Jay. Okay. And the winner gets to go to the fatal 4-way at All In. So your champion doesn't even get a spot at the match at All In. What? It makes no sense. I know that the championship was on the line, and I get that, and that's why they did it. But why is she not automatically in the finals too?
Mm-hmm.
And then you make this Anna Jay match. You have Britt Baker next week against somebody, and Saraya versus Sky Blue this week on Rampage, and those two winners. Why not have Anna Jay and Britt Baker wrestle? They go to the winner goes there to the main event of All In, or the women's, the Fatal 4-Way match, and then have Saraya and Sky Blue. Boom, there's your Fatal 4-Way, and have Sheeta automatically in, and have Toni Storm automatically in. What happens if Sheeta loses? Then she cashes in her rematch clause, and now you have a Fatal 5-Way at All. Like, just I don't know. This whole thing, AEW gets too cute sometimes, and this is an example of that. It didn't make any sense. I thought the Sheeta match was great. I thought Anna Jay looked good in the ring, and those two women brought it. And kudos to AEW for booking the women's division stronger ever since getting called out for not booking the women's division very strong. It's 2 weeks in a row that the women have closed the show, so kudos to them for that. But this tournament thing to build to All In, just that whole thing makes no sense. And then we talked about the Outcast earlier. Saraya is going to wrestle Sky Blue on Rampage, and if she wins, she's going to be going against her former Outcast member, or against her current Outcast.
Are they
member,
former?
Toni Storm. Yeah, and maybe, we still have a couple of weeks to build to it, so maybe they'll allude to it. But there was like no mention from commentary either, saying, "Oh, if Saraya wins, she could have to go against her stable, her faction mate, her running mate, Toni Storm. Like, who's going to go for the women's title? Are they going to be able to see eye to eye?" They didn't even acknowledge it at all. It was really weird, really baffling, and the booking of this just made no sense. You have your champion doesn't automatically qualify, but the number one contender does. But yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get any of them. I feel like every week now we're having a new tournament announced, or something, or a Rumble, or a Battle Royale, or I just can't keep up with it. Why can't we just build contenders, Tony Khan?
Yeah,
we don't have to have a tournament. Like, why not have? How you build contenders, Shooting Star? Let me tell you something, right? If you're booking wrestling via matches, this is how you do it, right? You're just going to have tournament after tournament after tournament to build what you need to get. How do you build contenders? By story. You have a story. They come up, they get there. Goldberg, for crying out loud. That was a story. He got built up. He was undefeated. Sting was a story. He was the anti-NWO and this and that. Everything's a story. Chad Gable right now is a story. He got called out for being weak. You're not going to I could beat you in less than 5 minutes because you're a joke. Last longer than that. Barely loses like 4 or 5 minutes after that match. And now is the number one contender again for the. That's a story. We are building stories. We're not just having a tournament every week or Fatal 4-Ways just to decide everybody. And if you are having a Fatal 4-Way, then you give it to someone like Chad Gable, which is continuing the story. Cody Rhodes is building a story. The bloodline. Anyway, I can go on all day. This is the problem with AEW, is that this is what they do. They don't build stories. Everything is just.
And
go ahead.
There is a story, and they're not telling it. I mean, you have Britt Baker, who's going against the Bunny next week on Dynamite. You have Sheeta, who was running with Britt Baker against the Outcast, and now you have the Outcast going against each other. So this Fatal 4-Way could be Saraya versus Toni Storm versus Sheeta versus Britt Baker. And there's your story right there. Sheeta and Baker were partners against the Outcasts, and the Outcasts were partners against Sheeta and Baker. Now all of them have to go against each other. There's your story. But they just throw them all together and just see what sticks, and it makes no sense to me. How they get there is what's baffling to me.
I agree. All right. You ready? That was the end of the week. Are you ready for our segment?
Yes, sir. Always.
All right. And what is our segment this week, Mr. Right-Hand Dude?
We are going to bring back our popular overrated, underrated, properly rated segment, where we give each other scenarios, wrestlers, segments, moments, something in AEW, and then we have to tell the other if we think it's overrated, underrated, or if we think they're rightly rated or properly rated. So,
all right, let's go. Give me the first one.
So I'll open it up. I will do. Okay, CM Punk, his return since the Brawl Out situation. Has he been overrated, underrated, properly rated? The real world champion, CM Punk.
All right, here it goes. I'm gonna say overrated. You don't have
All
a
right.
thing, right?
No, I wish I did. I wish I did.
And here's why. I think it's just everything that built up to it. That Collision was made for him. It's his show. And it hasn't been his show. He hasn't really been the star of his show. He's been kind of the afterthought or the guy in the main event in 6-man tags. He's lost almost every single time he's wrestled, other than Ricky Starks this week. He came out this past week or 2 weeks ago with Ricky Starks and thought that he was going to drop a pipe bomb, and then didn't, and said a bunch of dumb lines. And he's just, I just feel like he has been a miss. I haven't been feeling this new CM Punk. I haven't dug it. I don't like that he brought up the Elite kind of briefly or whatever. And then like FTR called out the Elite. They're wrestling the Young Bucks. Like, you have a story there. We're not going to talk about it. You know, he brought up the fact that he's the real world champion, but he's not bringing up, you know what I mean? He's not bringing up MJF. He's not like, I don't know what he's doing. I just feel like he's just kind of coming out and half-assing this shit. I mean, I'm sorry about my language. I just really feel like he is. I'm not a huge CM Punk fan like you are, but I am a huge CM Punk fan, and I've always liked CM Punk. But I just think, man, did he just have his moment at that time during the real pipe bomb in WWE? Is that what he's always going to be? Because what has he done since then? You know, his return back to AEW was a miss, and I feel like the second run has been a miss. I don't know. I'm just not. He looks old. He just isn't. I don't know. It's just you don't come out and say you're going to drop a pipe bomb,
and then not
you know what I mean? And if you're going to drop a pipe bomb, then you just drop a pipe bomb. You don't say you're going to drop it. Just drop it.
Just do it.
Just because if you say it, then it has to be good, and it wasn't. So, am I off with this? I don't know. What do you think? What are you going to grade it?
No, I'm actually in full agreement with you. I think he's been vastly overrated since his return. You know, he's losing matches, and I'm supposed to get behind him versus Samoa Joe. I'm supposed to get behind him versus Ricky Starks or being the real world champion, but him and FTR aren't winning the Trios Championship from House of Black this weekend. They're just not. So they're gonna take another L, but he's your champion. It just, I don't know. I don't like that he's referring to himself as the real world champion, and then, you know, MJF is not even acknowledging it. MJF's ignoring him. I don't like that. Just his whole demeanor since he's been back. Like, are you a baby face? Are you a heel? Because you're telling people not to cheat, but then you're going after people for their choice in hockey teams. Like, it just it makes no sense. Like, his character, I feel like he's kind of lost. So, yeah, I think CM Punk, since his return, has been vastly, vastly overrated. And they don't really promote him that much either on Dynamite. Like, they never say, they just say, hey, CMFTR is wrestling this week, but they don't ever show highlights of his matches. They don't show highlights of his pipe bombs or his mic moments or anything. And, you know, I think maybe AEW might be starting to see that he might be he's not what's advertised.
Did you see him with his, like, I'm a Collision Girl shirt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't it say I'm a Collision guy last week? And so it's like for both. But I did like that shirt because I'm a Paul Heyman guy is what he was referencing, because that's what he used to have, and now it's I'm a Collision guy. I did like that shirt. But anyway, all right.
Yeah.
All right. My turn?
Yeah, your turn.
You ready? All right. I got a few. So I'm going to start with overrated, underrated, Collision. We're what, 7-8 episodes in? Or properly rated. So you know what the fans think. You know they get high ratings from the public. They get poor ratings on TV. People like the matches. You get things. So what say you? Overrated, underrated, properly rated?
I'm gonna say overrated. I want to say underrated, but I'm gonna say overrated because when they had first announced Collision, I was under the impression that CM Punk's gonna be there, but it's really an extension of their roster. They have such a huge roster, and they don't have time to get everybody on the roster. They don't get everybody that's on the roster doesn't get enough TV time because of how stacked their roster is. So I was under the impression that we're going to see other people start getting some shine on Collision, and to a degree they have. We've seen a little bit more of Brian Cage. We've seen a little bit more Ricky Starks. We've seen a little bit more of FTR and all the tag teams they're facing, Big Bill and those guys. But for the most part, it's still the same people week in and week out. showing up on Collision and Dynamite. I mean, we had CM Punk was on an episode of Dynamite, and CM Punk's opening Collision. We have the Acclaimed on Collision, and sometimes they're on Rampage. Sometimes they show up on Dynamite. We have House of Black is predominantly exclusive to Collision, so we don't get to see them on Dynamite. So kudos to them for doing that. But it just feels like everybody else, we haven't seen Wardlow. When Wardlow was on the first episode of Collision, we haven't seen him since. Is he hurt? Where is he? What's going on? He's not on Dynamite either. So we're not really getting to see some of this talent that we thought we were going to see on Collision. We're just seeing a lot of the guys that we normally see on Dynamite, but they're just more featured on Collision or vice versa. We're not really getting to see the Matt Seidels and some of the other guys that we want to see pushed in AEW, and it's a shame. So, yeah, I'm going to say Collision's been overrated so far.
All right. I mean, I'm going to agree with you. And I think it's overrated just for the fact that the public have loved it so much. Like, fans love it. Podcasts love it. I mean, they're all about it, just how great it is. And I don't get it. I just think it could be a better production. I'm glad it's not the same thing as Dynamite, but once again, tell some stories, build some of these wrestlers up. Where's Thunder Rosa? Where's anybody? Yeah. So
where's Miro? We've had Andrade.
Yeah. I mean, let's keep this show going. You have 2, 4, 5 hours now of TV. Let's utilize it, right?
Yeah.
So
Andrade's having ladder matches every other week on Collision with House of Black members and winning some, losing some. Just I'm not feeling it. And I like the commentary team, but I like the commentary team on Collision better than Dynamite. But other than that, not feeling it.
For sure. All right, one more each?
Yeah, let's do one more. Okay.
All right, let's go.
Let's see. I was going to do Jungle Boy's heel turn, but we kind of talked about that already.
That was one of mine, too.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's do – we talked about this one, too. Okay. All right, I'll do it. Chris Statlander as the TBS champion. Overrated, underrated, properly rated.
Well, this is hard. And the reason why is because this is a dud. So it's definitely overrated. But is it overrated because does anybody think it's good, right? So for something to be overrated, it has to be highly rated, right? That means people are saying it's great, although it isn't, right? Because that's why it's overrated, right? Because it's overly. So, but I'm still going to say overrated. I don't get it. They've done nothing with her. She did, some squats this week and she's wrestling whoever. I mean, this is the girl that you had come back out of nowhere and beat Jade Cargill. And I don't know if Jade Cargill wanted time off and maybe she was doing her thing. And that's why, but why not have Britt Baker do it? Why not have where the heck is Britt Baker? You know what I mean? Like, so I agree with you. I think I don't agree with you. I'm saying it's overrated for sure.
Yeah, this one's tough. I think it's underrated, but overrated at the same time.
Okay.
I think it's, like you said, it's underrated or overrated because she hasn't done anything with the championship. And this is the girl that you had beat Jade Cargill. But I also think it's underrated because she hasn't been featured all that much. And we don't really know much about Chris Statlander. And I think this past episode of Collision was the first time, other than Rampage, may have been the first time we've seen her in a couple of weeks. And AEW does that. They bring somebody and then they drop them for a couple of weeks, and then they bring them back and then they drop them for a couple of weeks. Where's Billy Gunn? And when's Billy Gunn coming back? I mean, there's an example right there. He retired like 3 weeks ago, but we haven't seen him since. And what's happening there? So Chris Statlander, I think she's good in the ring, and I think she can go, but she's kind of losing me as the TBS champion. So. But is it because of AEW's booking of her? I don't know. So I think she's overrated but underrated at the same time. So I guess that would make her properly rated. I don't know. I'm confusing myself.
I mean, I guess if it's both, it is properly, right? Yeah. All right.
I'm just going to call that one a wash.
All right. You ready? Last one. You might have kind of covered this already, but I don't know. I'm just saying in a general sense. Overrated, underrated, properly rated. Blood matches on AEW television.
Oh, man.
I feel like we get them not just from BCC, from everybody every week.
Yeah. Vastly, vastly, vastly overrated. These things, blood is supposed to be something that helps tell the story and advance the story even further. That oh my gosh, this person's been busted open, and that's how personal this rivalry is now. He's busted him open this week, and
Mm-hmm.
and then that person gets their revenge, and then they fight, and then they have a great match at the pay-per-view. That's how wrestling works. And now we see somebody getting busted open literally every week. You kind of it loses its luster after a while. And then we've been privy on the WWE side. We've been privy to one of the greatest storylines in all of wrestling in its history with the Bloodline. And there hasn't been one shed of blood in that entire story.
Nope.
You've had last man standing matches with Brock Lesnar. You've had tribal combat matches with Jey Uso. You've had matches no holds barred with Kevin Owens, and anything goes with Sami Zayn. No disqualification matches. You had the turnbuckle match with Finn Balor. Like, nobody has been busted open intentionally or for storyline purposes in that great storyline. And so when I see blood on the other channel on AEW every other week, it loses its luster. So it's highly, highly overrated.
And like pointless matches too. Like they had a match to like a bloody match to face a tag team who don't even have titles. I was so confused on that. They're like, you two got to beat the best friends, and then you guys can wrestle the Lucha Bros or whatever. And I was like, how the heck does the BCC want to wrestle the Lucha Bros? Like, what the heck is that? And you have to cut yourselves open to earn that, and then cut yourselves open some more when you're in the Lucha Bros. Like, once again, I'm with you. I think it's super over. I think it's stupid. I think we've passed the ECW days, and I think ECW did that and worked so hard, to have that happen because they had to be different. They couldn't compete with the WWE and the WCW, so they had to be different. So they were hardcore, and it worked. Yeah. AEW doesn't need to be hardcore. AEW has so many talented wrestlers, and we have evolved as wrestlers and as fans that we don't need this crap anymore. And if you're gonna do it, make it feel special. Do it every once in a while. Yeah. Do it once a month, John Moxley. Save your skin.
And when you think they're going to use it, they don't do it. Like a proper time. We talked about the segment with Britt Baker and Saraya and Chris Jericho and Adam Cole.
Yeah.
When they were getting the kendo sticks out.
There was no blood. Yeah.
There was no blood. And that was a perfect time to unleash some blood because that was personal. Chris Jericho was making that personal, and he busted open. And Saraya could have busted open Adam Cole's girlfriend, making that feud even more personal for Adam Cole. And instead, there was no bloodshed. When you think there is going to be blood, there's not. And then randomness matches, fight parking lot brawls and blood and guts and lights out matches and all these things that they do. That's when all the bloodshed happens, and it's just okay. Like, we're used to it by now, but still overrated. Way overrated.
I agree. All right. That's it. We did it. Back again. Only 7 minutes over on AEW. Good job, us. We're getting there. Let's do it. So, AEW and all you fans out there and all you two dudes with attitudes, Wolfpack members, thank you again for tuning in. We'll be back next week. I think next week is the week before All In, right? Or it's the 28th. Yeah. We're almost there, or is it another one? Maybe it's another one after that before we do predictions. But either way, we're building there. Hopefully we get some more exciting stuff going on with Collision and maybe some new Trios champions. We'll see. But we will see you next Thursday. And man, thank you for tuning in. Keep subscribing. Our YouTube is blowing up. Everything is blowing up on us right now. You guys are loving us. You're leaving comments. You're leaving reviews. I dig it. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys enjoy hearing us and looking at us and just tuning into us every single week. So I am Mr. MWO, the dude of Wrestle Talk. And with me, as always, is
the left-handed, right-hand dude, Mr. Shooting Star Press. Hit me up on TikTok. Our socials are right here on the screen, at Shooting Star PRS on Instagram, at Shooting Star PRS on TikTok, at my _wrestling_opinion on Instagram, and at my wrestling opinion on TikTok. We're there. Hit us up on Apple and Spotify as well. Like he said, we're getting a bunch of good reviews. We're getting views and downloads. So yeah, we're killing it. We're doing big things. So keep the love coming. And we'll do this again next week. And let's build to All In, and we got to build to All Out too. All Out's the following week, so they got to start putting some matches out for that too.
Yeah, I agree. All right, two dudes, Wolfpack, we out.
It's the two dudes with the attitudes. Let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is. Man, they came to handle biz. Two dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you wanna hear it all,